If you're standing here, you're taking a picture.
You're going to see my fingers.
It's not my camera. Oh my gosh. Is everybody all right?
Deck collapse is sending an early 4th of July party crashing to the ground.
Bertha Lynn is live in that Littleton neighborhood. Bertha, several people were taken to the hospital. That's right, Anna and Mitch. It's a quiet neighborhood right now. It's a holiday. People may just now be waking up. But can you imagine what it was like last night with 7 fire trucks and ambulances lined up here on a report of a deck collapse with 10 to 15 people on it? By daylight, we've been able to get our first look at the collapsed deck, and it's frightening to think of what the people at the party went through last night. The edge of the deck that attaches to the back of the house swung down suddenly like a trap door, sending people hurtling to the ground. 3 were transported to Littleton Hospital. 1 was taken to Swedish Hospital.
A balcony collapse. Chopper 4 showing us the extent of the damage. 2 people hurt when those rear balconies all gave out. We have team coverage tonight from 24th and National.
We start with Cody Holyoke, who obtained exclusive cell phone video of the aftermath. Cody.
Close. It's amazing the damage left behind when these balconies gave way. I'll step out of the way and let you take a look. Check that out. Inspectors have boarded up the building. You can still see power tools and then holes in each level of this century-old apartment building where the worker went crashing through.
Our top story this morning, though, 3 women and a child hurt in a deck collapse here in Fayette County. Sky 4 showing you the aftermath of the crash. This morning, the victims are recovering as questions remain about what caused the deck to collapse. For the latest, let's go live to Channel 4 Action News reporter.
Well, it's amazing they even survived. They were just sitting there on the deck when all of a sudden it collapsed. 3 women and 1 little girl all rushed to the hospital. It happened around 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Spruce Hollow Road in Bullskin Township, Fayette County. The deck still taped off as investigators tried to determine exactly how this all happened in the first place. Now, when you look at it up close, you can just see how bad the damage was. The next door neighbor telling us she called 911 right away after her little girl saw what happened and ran home.
Did you see that right now? That is the fucking deck falling off the back of the house.
Holy shit, the deck's falling!
The deck's falling off the back of the house.
Oh shit, that's propane too. There's a propane tank on it. Ah shit.
Get out!
In other news tonight, a deck collapse in North Idaho injures several people. KHQ Local 9. Cindy?
Hi, Stephanie. Well, this is what's left of the deck. You can see it actually just tore away from the home here. 6 people sitting on the deck at the time. You can see there's still a chair here, an overturned table. I'm actually told there was 1 person underneath at the time. They heard the creaking and they were able to get out on time. But again, 6 people taken to the hospital. I'm told only 1 person is home tonight. Now, the reason everybody was here on the deck, it was actually the mom who lived here, her funeral today. Now, tonight,
down, just dust coming up and like someone just spewed a lumberyard on the bottom of this little ravine area. Started screaming her name. She wasn't answering, obviously.
The deck Jen was on had detached and flipped over. Trees miraculously blocked the deck from sliding down the deep ravine. And another stroke of luck. The hot tub on the fallen deck created a space between the 2 decks, saving Jen from being crushed to death.
It's amazing that she's alive.
Jen had several broken bones and 3rd-degree burns from landing on the burning grill. Today, she won't step on a high deck without it being thoroughly inspected. It was later discovered that the collapsed deck was not properly built. Nails, not bolts, were used to secure the deck. A cheap and quick way to build, but a potentially fatal mistake.
We are learning new details today about the collapse of this deck in Jefferson County last night. 4 people were sent to the hospital. 7 News reporter Lance Hernandez live in the neighborhood now. And Lance, there are questions tonight about the construction of that deck.
Many questions, Mike, about
how decks are attached to homes. Now, building officials tell us that the deck that collapsed last night was attached with nails, and they say there may be many other homes in this neighborhood and in other neighborhoods built the same way.
All of my friends and neighbors that I'm very close to on the block were on that deck.
Investigators say 10 to 15 people were on the deck when it fell.
You have people come by and they'll do it for less, and the homeowner doesn't know any better that doesn't meet code, and it should be bracketed and not nailed, and you don't find out until some kind of tragedy like this happens.
I think the floor is going to come out from underneath you.
A late night party ends in disaster. Thankfully, though, no deaths. I'm David Scott. Thanks for joining us tonight. Around 4 o'clock this morning it happened. Police and emergency crews responded to a collapsed deck that crushed dozens of partiers. Jackie, you talked to some of the victims and they told you they're lucky to be alive tonight, huh?
David, yes, I did, and they're very shaken up, and you can see why. Go ahead and take a look at what remains of this deck here behind me. It's hanging, only a few nails are keeping it up, but what's most striking is that from where the deck once stood to where I am right now is about a 20-foot drop, and a few survivors told me they're still in shock they were able to walk away unharmed.
It kind of stopped, but then it went again. It was like boom, boom.
People had blood on their head, and people was hollering, help me and get this thing off.
Memories of Sunday's deck collapse still leave victims terrified. 21-year-old Erica Hager says she was sitting on the deck when it went down.
My boyfriend helped me. He pulled me up.
Hagar recalls the collapse as a mere moment. She remembers men at the party scrambling to get people out from under.
It took like 12, 15 men to lift the balcony up just so people could move their body parts.
Those hurt went to University Medical Center Brackenridge. Doctors who treated them say the physical injuries were one thing, but the psychological damage could linger.
At this time, we can give you an example of a deck failure. Go ahead. Now, I'll move out of the way over here, and let's go ahead and collapse this deck.